Hi, if you don't already know me, my name is Kaylee. I am a gut health nutrition coach. I help people to overcome chronic gut issues like bloating, gas, constipation, IBS, acid reflux, anything like that, skin issues, all that kind of stuff, using the principles of ancestral nutrition as well as some other holistic health principles. So yeah, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 root causes for gut issues, and I'm going to give you some tips to help with each one of those. So yeah, before we get too far into the video, I just wanted to let you guys know that I actually have a few openings in my program, Ancestral Gut Healing, right now. This program is designed to help you to get to the root of your gut issues, heal them at the root, make sure you're nourishing your body, and overcome all your symptoms and just improve your health for the long run. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to stick around till the end and I will talk more about it then. But for now, let's get into the video. So the first main root cause I have for gut issues is gut dysbiosis. So gut dysbiosis is an imbalance in your gut microbiome. So it is when we have too many pathogenic microbes. Those can be bacteria, funguses, yeast, parasites, any of those kinds of things. We have too many of the bad guys and not enough of the good ones. So we're always going to have some of the pathogenic ones around, but if we have enough of the good ones around, then that doesn't really matter because they're keeping them in check. But in gut dysbiosis, we have too many of the pathogenic ones. This causes a lot of issues because pathogenic microbes love to produce gas, particularly the bacteria. So I talked about this in my last video, if you saw that, about fiber and pros and cons of fiber and bloating and stuff like that. But anyway, the pathogenic bacteria produce a lot of gas, especially when we're eating a lot of fiber. So that's when you get gas and bloating, and the gases can actually affect how water moves in your bowels. So it can affect how fast water is absorbed, or if more water is drawn to your bowels. So depending on the types of microbes you have and the types of gas they're producing, you can actually get constipation or diarrhea from gut dysbiosis. Another problem we can have here is SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Basically, most of our microbiome, most of our microbes are actually in our large intestine, which is the second one, the one that's attached to your colon. But the small intestine, which comes before the large intestine, it has some microbes, but in SIBO, we see an overgrowth. So we see way too many microbes in the small intestine, which can just cause more gas, more bloating, more discomfort, issues kind of like that. So gut dysbiosis is the first main big root cause. It has a lot of ways it affects your gut, as you can see. Also sorry, if I'm like waving around, there's a lot of flies outside, so that's what that is. But yeah, so another problem actually there is the bad microbes. They actually produce toxins, so it exposes us to more toxins. After I go over the 5, I'll give you some tips to do for each one. So the second main one is leaky gut. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably heard me talk about leaky gut a lot. But leaky gut is when our intestinal wall for our gut, which is only one cell layer thick, it's when holes develop in the lining, allowing things to easily pass from our digestive tract into our bloodstream. Normally, there's that tight wall there to prevent just anything from getting into our body, and our food has to be broken down into very small nutrients to go through different little channels to get into our body. So our body has a lot of different ways of regulating what can actually get in the bloodstream, and anything that doesn't make it in will leave in our feces. So when we have leaky gut, that is when we have these holes and things can just easily pass in that wouldn't normally pass in. So when they do, our body's like, oh no, what's this? This is foreign, this isn't supposed to be here. And it mounts an immune response in reaction. So you have things like a little hunk of bread, practically. It's not a hunk, but a tiny piece that's too big. And your body mounts an immune response to this, and immune responses are inflammatory. So when you have leaky gut, you're getting this chronic inflammation over and over again because things are constantly seeping in. Parasites can seep in as well and cause and overgrowth parasites in your body, which is no fun. So different things can go in there, toxins can, and they can lodge their way into different tissues. It just causes a lot of issues. And if it's not corrected, this is what leads to autoimmune issues, because your body has been mounting these immune responses over and over again. These toxins have lodged into different tissues. My favorite example is glyphosate, which is also called Roundup. This is a weed killer that 9 billion kilograms is sprayed every year in the world. It's insane. And basically there's this huge long list of side effects. And one of the issues is it actually triggers a compound in your body called zonulin to increase the permeability of your gut lining, so make your gut leaky. And it does the same thing with your blood-brain barrier, which is kind of scary. So if you're exposed to a lot of glyphosate, maybe you're spraying Roundup in your backyard or you're near a farm or something like that, you're much more likely to have a leaky gut. Also, when glyphosate seeps into your body, it loves your joints because its chemical structure is similar to an amino acid called glycine, which is like the main thing that your joints are made of, one of the biggest components of your joints. So these glyphosate molecules will actually replace glycine in your joints, and your body will go over to the joint and be like, what's up with this joint? What's up with this connective tissue? It's a bunch of glyphosate. We don't like this. So it'll start to destroy it in hopes that you'll make it better. But then you get like joint issues, joint autoimmune issues. So you get rheumatoid arthritis and other things like that. So this is it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a long time. There's a ton you can do to fix this. But that's kind of the worst case scenario from leaky gut, is these chronic autoimmune issues that are actually pretty severe and painful. So we don't want leaky gut. The less severe, the earlier warning signs is going to be tons of food sensitivities. Basically these foods are coming in, your body's not liking them, so it's going to basically just start reacting to all these foods that you normally eat pretty much. So that's why when you do those food sensitivity tests, they come back with all these foods that you eat all the time. And it's because your body's used to these seeping into your body where they're not supposed to, and it goes, we don't like that. But it's not the food's fault, it's the gut lining. So leaky gut is a huge, huge cause for lots and lots of gut issues. So then my third one is low stomach acid. Now, this might sound weird because when you think of problems with stomach acid, the most commonly said thing is your stomach acid is too strong, and that's why you have the burning from the acid reflux. But that's actually not true. So acid reflux is actually caused by too low of stomach acid. So let me explain. In your stomach, there's hydrochloric acid, and it's breaking down your food in there. Everything's churning around, and it's breaking it apart, and then it needs to go into the small intestine. There's this little sphincter, think of it like a little door, between your stomach and small intestine. Now, the sphincter will only open if your stomach is at a certain acidity. So when it's the right acidity, it opens up, it lets a little bit in, and then it gets neutralized, and a little more gets let in, and your food is moving to the next step. Also, when it's acidic enough, your food has been thoroughly broken down. So your digestion's at the point it should be, pretty much. But when you have too low, that little sphincter, that little door between your stomach and small intestine, doesn't open. So your food keeps churning and churning because it's trying to digest it fully before it moves on. And when it's churning and churning, there's another little door between your esophagus and your stomach. And that little sphincter, it's called the esophageal sphincter, likes to open and let a little bit of the stomach contents back up. Hence, you get acid reflux, but that was from too low of stomach acid. I know it feels acidic when you get acid reflux, but that is because of stomach acid. Even if it's too low, it's still pretty darn acidic. So this can cause acid reflux, obviously. It can also cause issues down the line because if you have too low stomach acid, you're not thoroughly breaking down your food, which means that you can have large chunks of food, or larger than they should, going into your small intestine. And then you might not be able to break them down as much, which means you're not absorbing as much nutrients into your body. And then you have excess food that should have been broken down and the nutrients should have been absorbed, you have that moving into later parts like your large intestine, where the gut microbiome is going to have a field day. And if you have gut dysbiosis, then you're going to get a lot of gas from that extra food you're giving to your microbes. If you don't have gut dysbiosis, it's not as big of a deal. You're not going to get as much gas production, but you still might get a little too much if you're not digesting your food well. So basically, that's going to put a burden on there. If you're prone to constipation, this is only going to add more bulk to your stool and add more problems. So basically, I like to say every single part of digestion affects the next parts. So if you don't have something working well, it just passes the burden to all the other parts of digestion. So that's why strong stomach acid is super, super important. It also helps with, just fun fact, the animal with the most acidic stomach acid are, they're vultures. And think about it, they're scavengers, they're going around. The stomach acid is actually killing off a lot of pathogens. So strong stomach acid means you're less prone to foodborne illness. So that's cool too. So the fourth one is stress, and fourth root cause for gut issues. And stress works in a lot of different ways. Stress negatively affects our gut microbiome, so it can cause dysbiosis. Stress also can make our intestinal wall leaky. So stress can also cause leaky gut. And then stress, it can burn through nutrients quicker. So you have less nutrients to go to building enzymes for digestion and all these other different things that we need for digestion. So it can affect us that way. Also, probably the biggest one for stress is going to be that stress pulls us out of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is known as the rest and digest mode, and into the sympathetic, which is known as fight or flight, which you've probably heard of before. And in fight or flight, basically all our energy and nutrients in our body is pulled out of the digestive tract and into things like our heart and our eyes and our muscle and anything we would need in a dangerous situation, so that basically we can react quick and either fight or run away. So in those situations, our body is not worried about digesting our food, so the nutrients and energy are pulled out. So that's why, if you've ever noticed, when you're really stressed, usually you just don't feel like eating. So it's really, really important to be relaxed when you eat, so that all of this nutrients and energy can be in your digestive system where it needs to be to digest your food fully, so that you can absorb your nutrients and not get a bunch of symptoms from not digesting your food well. So that's a big one with stress. And then my last one is just poor diet or nutrient deficiency. So that works in a few ways. Like I was saying, nutrients are actually important for digesting. We need protein to make digestive enzymes. We need certain nutrients like zinc to make our stomach acid. So sometimes when you have low stomach acid, it's a nutrient deficiency. So we actually need a lot of nutrients for our digestive system to work and to repair any damages, because it gets damaged. You could get leaky gut, or you can actually also get like lesions on your gut lining. So it's very, very important that we have lots of nutrients and the right nutrients to repair that, so that our digestive system works well. So that's really important. And then the other side of poor diet is if you're eating a lot of things that irritate the gut, if you're eating a lot of hard to digest plant foods. So if you're eating like tons of grains and nuts and seeds and legumes and processed foods and vegetable oils and things like that, if you're eating a bunch of that, that is really, really hard on your digestive tract and actually causes a lot of damage. I'll go into that in my next video. Actually, I'm going to talk about anti-nutrients. So that's the main component in these nuts, seeds, legumes, and grains that is so harmful to your gut. So I will go into that in the next video, so this one's not too long. But just realize that your diet impacts your digestive tract, in the sense that if you are eating a lot of things that are harmful. They're going to cause harm, and you have to make sure that you're eating enough things to heal any damage that does occur and getting the nutrients to be able to support digestion. So those are the 5 main root causes I see for gut issues. So I just want to give you a few tips on each one. So the first one, gut dysbiosis, you have to focus on rebalancing your gut microbiome. So you want to make sure that you are introducing good bacteria. So fermented foods, yogurt, kefir, homemade is better, but store-bought's better than nothing. You can make kimchi, you can have sauerkraut, you can have fermented veggies. Anything fermented like that is going to be introducing good bacteria into your gut microbiome. The other side is we want to avoid anything that mass kills our bacteria. So antibiotics, hand sanitizers, antibacterial soaps, things of this nature are really bad for our microbiome because they essentially nuke the field or bomb the field if it was like a war between the good ones and the bad ones. Obviously, life's not that black and white, but the pathogenic bacteria or the good ones. So if we do these things that mass kill them off, it leaves this huge gap in the bacterial population and leaves it a lot more up to chance whether or not that's going to be populated by the beneficial ones or the pathogenic ones. And we don't want to leave that to chance, because a lot of times the pathogenic ones will take over. So basically avoiding those kinds of things and making sure that you are constantly having these. Now, I get that there are some situations that you absolutely need antibiotics. If you just had a surgery where they had to cut into your torso, I get taking antibiotics. So if that's the case, you always want to be taking tons of probiotic rich foods around that time. But there's a lot of things we don't actually need antibiotics for, so just try to avoid them as best as you can. Yeah, and those are my main tips. I'll probably get into it more in another video, but those are just a few simple things you can do to support your gut microbiome. So then another one, okay, so leaky gut, the second one. You want to avoid nuts, seeds, legumes, and grains, and gluten particularly. Because gluten also triggers zonulin and can cause leaky gut. So you want to avoid all of those foods for a while. Definitely avoid vegetable oils, and then really prioritize organic. I mean, that's always best. I get it's expensive, but when you have leaky gut, you really want to prioritize this because you do not want to be getting pesticides when you're in that vulnerable state, pretty much. So, there are a million flies. That is why I keep swatting them away. So with leaky gut, buzzing in my ear and stuff. Okay, so with leaky gut, you want to avoid those foods, and then it's really, really important that you are providing your body with lots of nutrients, particularly collagen, to heal the gut lining and to seal the gut lining. So 1 cup of bone broth every single day is just a must if you have leaky gut. There are other options, but that's the easiest one. You want things like bone marrow, joints, poultry with the skin on, stuff like that, tough cuts of meat that are slow cooked. You want all sorts of things like that to help really provide those nutrients you need to heal and seal your gut. You also have to work on stress. You're not going to heal if you're stressed all the time. That puts a huge burden on your body. So managing stress is super important for leaky gut as well. So those are kind of my main leaky gut tips. Obviously there are more, but this video is meant to be more of a overcap instead of detailed into each section. So the next one, low stomach acid. Okay, so for low stomach acid, the short-term symptom relief is going to be having apple cider vinegar in water right before your meal, and you can have it during your meal as well. So this basically just helps the acidity of your stomach, and because it's the first thing you're drinking, it tends to sit a little more towards the bottom and help the pyloric sphincter open and empty your stomach at the appropriate times. So I've noticed with my clients, this makes a huge difference having the apple cider vinegar water. Yeah, they just always say it makes a huge difference. Their acid reflux goes away and it's wonderful. So I'm always happy to hear that, but it is a shorter term fix. So for the long term, we want to make sure we're healing our gut so that we can absorb nutrients and so that we can make our own stomach acid. So things like zinc are going to be really important here. So getting a really nutrient-dense diet so you can make your own stomach acid. Also avoiding drinking plain water and other non-acidic beverages around mealtime is going to be important, because if you're drinking a huge glass of water with your meal, it's just going to raise the pH. Yes, make it more basic and not as alkaline. Or wait, make it more alkaline, basic, whatever one you want to say, and less acidic. So we don't want to drink water around meal times, especially if you get acid reflux. If you don't get acid reflux, you don't have to be super strict about this, but basically avoid drinking tons of water right around your meals. That's, 20 minutes or so before, during, and like 20 minutes or so after your meals. So those are my main tips for helping your stomach acidity. And then the next one, stress. Okay, so stress probably needs a whole video on its own, but for managing stress, you don't want to think about it like trying to eliminate all stress from ever coming into your life again, because that's totally ridiculous and not going to set you up for success. So instead, I want you to think, fly went in my ear this time. So instead, I want you to think about managing stress, obviously decreasing super stressful things in your life as you can, but learning how to manage it better as it comes up. So I'll just give you a few tips that I feel make a huge difference here. So one is how you organize your day. If you just kind of simplify this and cut out all the things that just don't even matter, there's a place for a lot of health practices, but if you end up with a long list of a million things you got to do in the day, it's just going to be super stressful. You don't need to have this extensive long morning routine or whatever. Most of the time I feel like it's just overwhelming. So I would really suggest that you simplify your day so that you cut out anything that's really not benefiting you, and also to not overschedule your day. I know this can be hard, but just start to learn what you can actually do in a day so that you don't feel overwhelmed by all the stuff you have to do. Just getting really clear. I like to write out just my typical day, what it looks like, and then every single day I write out what I'm going to do the next day, and I tweak it a little bit, but I have my blueprint of what I know I can fit in and not be overwhelmed with. So I think that's super, super helpful. Another thing is just if there's any main big things that stress you out in life, try to change that if you can. I know it's not always easy, but it will make a big difference. If you have a living situation that really stresses you out, I'd really encourage you to try to change that. I know it doesn't always seem possible, and I know it's not always possible, but to do whatever you can, and if you can change it, definitely change it. So simplify your day, and change any big stressful things in your life, and then also just how you approach things. So this will be my last stress tip, or second to last. I have two more. So how you approach your day, or how you approach stressful things, is super, super key. If you go, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so stressed, you're gonna be stressed. I've done this to myself and it sucks. You waste so much energy telling yourself you're overwhelmed when you totally don't need to. Another thing that helps me is thinking, has there ever been a day in my life I haven't gotten everything done that I absolutely had to get done that day? And the answer is no. I've never had a day like that. And I really doubt you have either. Sometimes there's things we really wanted to get done. It would have been great to get done that we don't get done, but the world doesn't end. And if we waste less time and energy stressing over these things, we'll get more done. So try to approach your day better and try not to stress. I know it's easier said than done, but just really be conscious in trying to make that mindset shift on how you approach things. And then my last one is just to incorporate some de-stressing sort of things. For me, after dinner is like wind down time. I can read, I can watch something, or I could do a craft, but I'm not working anymore. I'm done with that part of the day, and that's something that helps me. It could be taking a bath, it could be reading in the sun, it could be going for a walk, but I would definitely include some like de-stressing, like relaxing activities into your day as well. So those are the main ones that I'll give you today, and maybe I'll do another video in the future on more stress stuff because, yeah, I know it's just one of those things that's a little bit challenging sometimes. Okay, so then my last one was poor diet and nutrient deficiency. So eat a nutrient-rich ancestral diet. So eat nose to tail, seasonal foods, seasonal fruits and veggies, and then also prepare any grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes that you're going to eat properly. So soak, sprout, ferment, roast, that kind of stuff. If you do have serious gut issues, these are foods you're going to want to cut out for a while, but if your gut issues are a little lighter, you can oftentimes tolerate some of those foods as long as you're preparing them properly. So that will make them more nutrient rich as well. So yeah, I'll talk more about that in the anti-nutrient video, but basically focus on nose to tail animal foods, seasonal fruits and veggies, and properly prepared any other plant foods you want. And then avoid all the crappy foods, avoid vegetable oils, fast food, junk food, processed food, you know what to avoid. So yeah, those are the main things on just having a better diet and having that impact your gut health. And yeah, so that kind of wraps it up for my 5 root causes and what to do about them. Yeah, so the 5 root causes were gut dysbiosis, leaky gut, low stomach acid, stress, and poor diet or nutrition deficiency. So if you are just looking for a place to start, this is a great place to start to identify some of those root causes for your gut issues, and then a few things you can start to do to change that. And yeah, I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there are a few spots open in my program, Ancestral Gut Healing, right now. So if you are dealing with gut issues like bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux, indigestion, just pain in your stomach, also less obvious gut issues. So if you are having hormonal issues, if you're having skin issues, fertility issues, brain fog, anything like that. Our gut affects so many things. So if you're having health issues that attach to the gut in any kind of way, and you want to overcome them, and you want to understand why you're actually having these symptoms, what's going on in your body, and then you want to understand how to change your diet and lifestyle to address these at the root so that you are actually healing your body fully, and so that you are nourishing your body so that you overcome these symptoms for the long run and they don't come back, and you understand how to prevent them from ever coming back. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, be sure to book a call with me. I will put a link below to book a call with me, and we will map out a plan to help you to overcome your specific gut and digestive issues. And then I will also share with you about my program, Ancestral Gut Healing. We'll see if it's a good fit, something you're interested in. Yeah, so if you're interested in any of that, be sure to book a call with me. And yeah, I hope to talk to you. And also, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for staying till the end. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, comment, share it with anyone you know that you think might enjoy it. And if you want to hear more about gut health, digestive health, ancestral nutrition, anything like that, that's what I'll be talking about more on this channel. So if you want to hear more about that, go ahead and subscribe if you like. Yeah, thank you for watching.